to stand and join us in our Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Right.
Can I get motion to approve tonight's meeting agenda as stated?
Second.
Mr. Loyer, second by, you're our clerk pro tem, so you might want to be.
Well,
Oh.
Maureen's got it.
So it was a motion by Mr. Loy, second by Mrs. Wood. Any discussion? All those in favor? With that, we only have really two things, but they're related on the agenda tonight. So I'll make a motion, then we'll discuss. I'll make a motion to accept item H in its entirety. Can I get a second? Second by Mr. Loy. Open it up for discussion. So with that, I'll turn it over to Ms. Fogel.
Yep. So the whole plan that we never deviated from was to hire a replacement for our executive director of people personnel services that retired. That was effective position January 1st. Mrs. Michelle Alania was the successful candidate, and we had never strayed from the fact that we wanted that person to be able to come in and really get a good understanding of the district, know all of the people and the systems we have in place that are special ed related, and then be able to go with some type of assistant. We didn't know what we were going to call it at that point, but we knew that it was far too much for one person in a district our size to be able to manage with the whole stacking process, the TAs, the whole 9 yards. So originally the goal was to keep it in the tenure area of school psychologist. And so that's around March is when that was suggested, and we said, yep, okay, that makes sense. We'll be able to have somebody assisting you in doing all of those things. But it was more around April and May that our head of special ed realized, besides all the other things that she has to do, the observations of special ed teachers, which we have a tremendous amount, being one of the largest districts in the county, but also service providers like OT, PT, speech, and whatnot. And so a downside to having it as the school psychologist position is that they can't do observation and evaluation of teachers because they have to be an administrator to do that. I had a conversation with the teacher union president, and she completely understood and was in agreement with me that this is a position that is best suited to be an administrative position. With that being said, we researched it and we said, what's the best way to be able to do that that's financially good for the district? Because the position that I'm asking you guys to rescind, it could be anywhere between $100,000 to $125,000 salary benefits is the school site position. The position we want to replace it with is the assistant director for people personnel services, which will be in the principal bargaining unit, and it's going to be a 10-month position with the ability to be able to have 20 additional days if needed. And so in doing that, basically the way we look at it, it would be a wash financially, but this person would also be able to do observations. And looking at that, sitting down with Michelle and sitting down with Kenny Gellman, who can't be here today, and Aaron, who has a long history in special ed in our district and has been to college for all the years, we determined that it was this position would be the best position to be able to go. Service our students' needs, but also support staff, providing them with the feedback that they need and being able to get into rooms and helping the teachers with specific interventions for the special ed things.
Questions or other discussion on it?
So you said basically it's a wash?
Yes.
1 for 1, we'll take.
Because the 10-month, the highest that we're looking at is 75,000. The highest for, we don't know, because the school psychologists can come in with whatever experience that they go on the matrix. That's why I'm saying that could have been $125,000.
Right, so the washers were the other thing.
Well, the wash is if we need them for those 20 days. So let's say throughout the year, there's a huge number of students that move into district that then require CPSC. This person will also be CPSC chair, so we'd be paying them, I believe it's about $300 a day for those 20 days. Because all of our school sites, we have them for the 10 months plus those 20 days. If we need them for 20 days, then know what that rate is. So if we used all of them, it would be the 75 plus That would come out to be just under $7 grand. Yep, 6 grand.
Wait, so then where's the other 40?
83 to 125, there's a significant.
Is
Right,
that-
you're saying wash, we're seeing savings and we're trying to make sure we're not missing something.
So when I say wash, that would be if the psychologist came here with no experience at all, then that would be a wash. It's hard to tell because I don't know.
Well, we would hire a psychologist.
Well, so if we hired an experienced psychologist that could be 125, then yes, it would be a savings of doing the way that we're doing. I just felt like it's just easier to say it would be a wash, assuming that a psych that came here with no experience, but you're right. Chances are a psych would come here with some years of experience and would be coming in at $100,000, well, about 85 plus benefits that bumps into that 120-ish number, where we already know we're capping it at 75.
But so then you have to add on benefits, so that's with that other $20,000, $30,000, okay.
Correct.
And we were paying, Sandy McLean as a stipend.
So there's two other things that we're not stipending anymore, and they're aware, so I can say publicly. The school psychologist at the middle school will be able to focus now on being just a school psychologist in middle school, and that
Which is, roughly the dollar amount for that, stipend for that.
$10,000. And then the other stipend to be the CPSE chair, which was St. Gwen, who was a retired teacher. We already knew, since her husband was retired, she wasn't doing it anymore. That was $6,000. So you're right, technically it's not a wash. We could be making 20 grand profit on this one.
We're too good, but you and we generally don't direct questions to the staff, but it's kind of weird to go through you. But everyone's good with this, like you think this is the best mode and go forward for special ed students in our
Believe you me,
district.
I have thought this through and had lots of conversations, yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I just want that on this, not that many people watch it, but, because I don't want anyone to think this is a cost savings measure, it's.
No.
We didn't come up with this.
And it needed, it's a best interest.
Right.
And oh, by the way, the bonus, we're saving a few bucks, hypothetically speaking.
Correct.
So describe what this position is going to do.
So this-
In the ideal candidate.
Yep.
That's what it feels.
So the position, first and foremost, is going to be our CPSE chair, since we don't have one now. She's retired, that was her stipend. So you're going to be the CPSE chair with our young kiddos running those meetings that can go all year long. But the person's also going to be able to do observations, be able to meet with Michelle and say, okay, I don't want to say divide and conquer. Likely Michelle will take all untenured ones and then ones that she feels that she needs to get into those classrooms for whatever reason, she needs to be in there. But there's no way she'd be able to do the observations of all of our special education teachers, the required amount of times, as well as speech teachers, OT, PT, and whatnot. So that observation component is also there as well. Dealing with our students that are placed in BOCES programs, she'll be, he or she, whoever gets this position, once we post it tomorrow, will be able to play the key role in doing that as well as, those day-to-day conversations with some parents before they rise to the level of, needing to speak to the head of special ed. That's also going to allow her to now really start looking at one of the goals that we tasked her with, or what are those programs that we can now bring back from BOCES, the Housing CSI for the 2021 school.
Okay, so the ideal candidate would be what?
So the ideal candidate is going to be somebody.
Administrator.
Yep, it has to have your CAS in order to be able to qualify for this position. That has the experience with special education. That has either been part of CPSE, chairing those, whether you're leading or being on a committee for that, for special education. Have that background that likely isn't already an administrator, because for that case, they'd probably be taking a pay cut, because it's the perfect position for somebody that loves special ed, that doesn't want to go the route of the traditional assistant principal for 3 years and then principal. You can go right into it, and it's a 10-month plus the 20-day position. So it's an ideal position for us to get the special ed support from somebody that really knows what they're doing special ed-wise, that also wants to be an administrator.
Competition and fun.
There's a plan.
I know if we put this out, it's going to be very appealing with the 10-month, and I'll know once it gets posted tomorrow. But I think this is going to be a position that's going to be coveted, because there are a lot of people with special ed backgrounds that have their CAS that would look for a position like this. It's not,
Most principals don't have that on anyway, so it's gonna be, we're gonna want that for some.
Right.
oh, of course.
Like, I know a lot of them that were BOCES, that are 12 employees, but you offer them the care of 10 months.
Oh, yeah.
So it's
So it's a cost savings for the district, because a lot of the things, she's a 12-month employee, so these are her tasks are gonna be, and if we need her sometimes in the summer, that's the 20 days in CPS teacher.
And the population of special ed is not getting any,
It just keeps growing.
yeah.
Do you fully expect to use those 20 days, I'm assuming?
Yes.
So, I mean, it's basically one month.
Well, if it's anything like guidance is fun too, it's important to use that for school. And then-
Yeah, so it's very similar to our
Probably the
counselors.
same way.
Yeah, it is. That's why we say the 10 and 20, it's the 10 month and 20. But the good part about this is those 20 days can be used, and she had a great idea. Yes.
Yes, absolutely, especially those spring anniversary committee meetings that we have, very useful.
Well, and the
And-
best part is like kindergarten screening and stuff like that, you don't know who you're getting when they walk in the door, and you may.
Oh. Absolutely.
Any other
And
discussion before we
obviously, you're
vote?
going to be very crystal clear about, there needs to be some higher level of flexibility for this individual to meet these random demands.
Oh, yeah.
They're gonna be fully appraised of that, it's not.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Just
Absolutely.
throwing it out there,
Yep.
so it's been said.
Mhm.
Everyone good?
Yep.
All right. All those in favor? Thank you, it's unanimous. With that, I make a motion to adjourn the meeting at 5:46, second by Mr. Hoyt. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Thank you, everybody.
Yes, thank you.